Hello there, this is Mark Carter of Mark Carter Hypnotherapy. Welcome. This morning we have the wonderful Noah and his mum, Antonella. Now, today is a big coup for me because it is extremely rare. In fact, this is the first case where I've actually had mum and son recording with me. So I can't thank you enough for this. It's so important, and especially to get a parent's point of view, because we have to remember that when somebody young is going through something, it affects the family around them. So it's wonderful to get this input. So, ladies and gents, without further ado, please tell us about your experience with what you were going through and hypnosis, etc. Just go for it, please.
Do you want me to start or do you want to start?
Go on, you start.
So basically I sort of been suffering like with anxiety myself since probably like year 5. It hasn't been great. It's always sort of felt like it's always followed me. I've gone through, so I had like different therapies, sort of like cognitive behavioral therapy and all of the other different therapies, but even when I did them, it sort of felt like it was like a shadow of anxiety still following me, and it felt as though yes, they did help, but it didn't get rid of it, if you know what I mean. Like there was still this sort of larger piece of anxiety that was still left, and as much as I tried to get rid of it, it just felt like it was just stuck there and it wouldn't move, like it just wouldn't budge. um so I think I sort of got a bit like desperate, because obviously like anxiety is never going to fully go, but I think you can tell when there's anxiety that needs to stay versus anxiety that needs to go.
Yes.
Um, Obviously, some anxiety is good anxiety, and you can tell when it's good anxiety. But the anxiety I felt, you know in yourself that it isn't right and it shouldn't be there, sort of thing. So yeah, I was getting a bit like desperate because it did sort of feel like it just never would go, and then I sort of was like, oh, maybe I'll just like have it forever. But yeah, so I sort of like we started looking into like different things and different sort of ways to be able to like deal with it, and obviously came across hypnotherapy, and it genuinely like really helped. And I'm not just saying that, like it genuinely did really help. I feel like for me it was very much like all the other type of therapies, they sort of try to feed you things, but it's up to you to sort of believe it, if you know what I mean. But they don't
Yes.
really help you to try and believe it. They just talk to you and try and get everything in your head, when really it's not all going in, if you know what I mean.
I think with Noah, he had mindfulness, he had cognitive behaviour therapy, as he's discussed. He has seen various professionals. But with all of those, although they gave him strategies, when he was in that heightened mode and he would have panic attacks and go from literally 0 to 100, it's not even 0 to 60, it'd be straight to the top. In those moments, he wasn't able to put the strategies that he was taught to employ in place,
Yeah.
even though he had started to know when those feelings were coming on and we would discuss them, but he just really found it so difficult, or they would work for a short amount of time, but they just didn't have any longevity in them, and that was really difficult. And obviously as he's grown up and he's now 17 doing his A levels, you've got obviously he went through puberty in that time, we had lockdown, there were so many things that impacted us all further as well.
Yeah.
And I think us as a family were all so hugely impacted. And he had a panic attack in about May this year and just said, Mum, I've had enough of this, I've got to get rid of it. And you just knew that he truly meant it, in that he had to get rid of it, which is obviously when I then came across you and we had a discussion before you spoke to Noah in terms of, is he ready to leave life without it? And I think that's quite a big thing, because I think some people, although they want to get rid of it, they don't know how they'll cope without it, type thing. So but it has really impacted his life. He hasn't wanted to go out with his friends, he hasn't wanted to do what I would consider normal teenager things, and within days of having just even the first session with you, his words were, come on Mum, let's go and get the bits I need for school. Now most teenagers don't want to go and get bits for school, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, the fact that he actually said, come on, let's go out of the house and go shopping, was just massive. You know, that's not something, it was always me dragging you out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not saying he particularly enjoys shopping, but at the same time, we were happy to do so. So, yeah, he always said that he was left with a big knot of anxiety that you hadn't been able to unravel.
Yeah, and I feel like, so with hypnotherapy, it's you doing it yourself. You are in like you're in control.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So it's like you can feel everything happen. I think that's one thing for me. I'm very much like, I'm very much like, oh, I want everything done now, sort of thing. Like, you know, so it's sort of like when I did all the sort of other types of therapies and you can actually feel it working, I think you go into a bit like, oh, this isn't working. And then your mind, you know, just like ignores sort of everything, and then it doesn't really help. But when you can feel something working and when you know it's working, whether it's like it's sort of like trained your mind to then think, oh my god, like this is working, so I'm gonna be fine now. But yeah, no, it was weird because I haven't sort of really felt that much anxiety since hypnotherapy. There's been like a bits of anxiety, but they are a bit anxiety that you need, sort of thing, if you know what I mean. Like they're in situations where a normal person would feel anxious, if you know, like they're not sort of like situations where you're like, why am I feeling anxious? Like I shouldn't feel nervous about this, which is what I had before.
And we're not arguing, because he would go to, in effect, quite an irrational place quite quickly. So being able to have a conversation with him, even when he is feeling anxious, and I know when he was in London with his dad the other week, you did feel quite anxious, didn't you? But at the same time, his dad was able to talk with him, and they were able to talk together about what the anxiety was. Yes. And they came up with a solution, and therefore he was able to continue with what they were doing.
Excellent.
And that's massive, because that you know, that wouldn't have happened in the past.
Absolutely. And that idea right there, because life is going to continue throwing things at you. So it's not a case of get rid of anxiety and the next lot that comes along, you don't know how to deal with it. The changes here is that, yes, a little bit of anxiety has come your way, but now you've got a way of dealing with it. You know that you can look at it and say, yeah, I've got this, or I can discuss this, debate it, and come to a solution. And that is massive. That really is massive. That's wonderful. That really is.
And we're still on a journey. It's not completely gone. Do you know what I mean? And I know that anxiety won't go, but even sometimes his thoughts, we do have to discuss them more than somebody else may have to, if you get my meaning. But the more we do that, the more I know that, you know, it goes into his subconscious, and he's allowing things to go into his subconscious, because he's actually allowing us to have those conversations in the first place, rather than just walking out the door, slamming his bedroom door, just wanting to get away from the world.
But I do feel like the sort of lump of anxiety has gone. Like the anxiety I feel, it isn't like that lump that I felt before. It is more like just normal anxiety, how you feel. I feel like the anxiety I had before was very intense. It was very like full on, which is probably why I wasn't as rational, because when you're feeling something so intense, you're just a bit like, oh, and you're not really thinking. A bit like if you get like shot, like you're not gonna be like just like normal, are you? But yeah, so I feel like that has gone, and I could like feel it go, like when my belly would just like, and it sort of like just went. So I that is definitely gone. Like I don't have that sort of hole of anxiety anymore, which was the sort of last bit of anxiety that I had from all of the therapies I sort of did.
And touching on what you just said there, that belly feeling. Tell us what hypnosis was actually like for you, because we had some fun, didn't we? We really did have some fun. Tell us your experience.
It was definitely like an experience. It was actually really good. I went into it with a very open mind, because I was like, do you know what? Like, if you're not going to go in it with an open mind, then probably nothing's going to happen. You've got to believe it. Sounds cringy, but like, you do have to like believe it. So I sort of went into it with a very open mind. I was like, do you know what? This is going to work. because I do feel like I need to change my mindset.
But you're a bit scared though about the thought of somebody making you go to sleep. That was like, how is that going to work, and how are you going to feel?
I was. I don't know. I just feel like I'm a type of person. I feel like I'm a very like sort of like not bothered type of person, but I'm genuinely really bothered. Yeah. But like I'll just say like I'm not bothered. So it was quite scary-ish, but you know, I feel like you just got to let go, and you just whatever happens sort of thing. Yeah. So you just got to let it happen. So I went into it like the first time, and I was sort of like sitting there, and then to be fair, I just did everything you told me to do. Yeah. I was just like, you know what? Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I was doing all of that, and then it sort of like brought me into like hypnosis, and I haven't like properly. So I sort of compared it to like a deep sleep, but it's deeper than a deep sleep, because I had a deep sleep last night, and it wasn't deeper than the hypnosis. It was really weird because I was just like comparing it. I was like, this is a deep sleep, but it's not as deep as I went. I don't think I'll ever go as deep into sleep as I was when I was doing the proper hypnotherapy.
I'll come round then. When it's Betty Buy's time, I'll read you a story, and we can put you into that really deep sleep. Do the whole family.
Because it is actually, it's a really like it's so deep you can't even open your eyes, which is weird. Like I genuinely couldn't open my eyes.
Yeah.
It's weird how deep, and you can feel how deep. And it's not like scary. It's actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's just like it's a deeper sleep than like I've ever had in my whole life, and I sort of just felt like everything just lets go, and then you're just sort of like.
And I think you actually felt, didn't you, when a couple of weeks into it, there was one week where you were talking about that knot in your stomach.
Yeah, and my stomach just started making noises.
Yeah.
It's weird how it like works, and we're just making all these like gurgling noises, like sort of like let it go.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was definitely a lot of like physical aspects that came along with it. It was a physical
release, and I think that's triggered something there really in a really positive light for him, that actually he's been able to let something go, and it's not there.
Yeah.
I mean, when you as you say, let go, and you completely relax. I mean, you just put your complete trust in the hypnotherapist. I mean, you were able to talk. I mean, with that moment where I said that first time, where I said to you, and in a moment, I'm going to ask you to attempt to open your eyes, but you won't be able to open your eyes. And I said, gently test it and see. And you went, oh my God, stop, wait a minute. And I said, it's all right, you're perfectly safe, you're perfectly fine. And you are, because ladies and gents, remember this: at any point, if something were to occur in your house, so for example, if the boiler exploded upstairs, you would simply open your eyes, get up, go upstairs and deal with it. I have a certain amount of input in you. However, you have total control. Okay, I cannot make you do anything that you do not want to do. I have no influences with regards, basically, I just cannot make you do something that you do not want to do, which is why you have to choose to say to yourself, well, we're going to deal with my anxiety, and I'm going to completely let go and just allow whatever needs to happen. But I know that I can trust this therapist, and if I was to say something inappropriate, you'd simply open your eyes and say, stop, and I'm not happy with this. That's how safe it is. But
you are it's weird, you're conscious, but like time goes, like you're unconscious, if you get what I mean. So like you're conscious, like you know everything that's going around you, but then it goes like this.
Yes.
So
time compression. Time compression.
You're conscious, but time is being as if you are unconscious. So it's weird, but you are definitely conscious. Like I could hear everything going around. Like I hear people banging upstairs and everything. Like you can hear everything.
So all in all, then, a happy result.
Yes,
massively. Yes,
that's wonderful to hear. Is it again? Thank you so much for doing this. Is there anything else anything final that you would like to put in here into this, or?
I definitely feel like it is something that is worth it, especially because I think many people. I do like just the sort of I'll call them normal therapies, but like the therapies that people often, like doctors and everything, will tell you to do. And I think a lot of the time it is people just feeding stuff into you, but you need to be fully open-minded to be able to receive that information. I think a lot of people aren't very open-minded. I know I'm not very open-minded when it comes to people telling me to do things, and it's actually just us as humans. I think we don't all like people telling us to do things. It's just
Exactly.
we feel we want to sort of be in control ourselves.
Yeah.
We want to sort of do it ourselves, but we don't really know how to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel like with hypnotherapy, it is basically doing it ourselves, but with someone doing it for us. But you feel like you're doing it yourself.
Exactly that. It is. I am simply there to take you to a place where you can deal with the issue, and this is the most important thing for me. I think as we come to an end. The only person that needs congratulating, well, actually, there are two people that need congratulating: Mum for the support you know, and of course, Dad, the whole family for the support that you've given Noah. But more importantly, Noah, the fact is, you might think, "Yep, Mark, great hypnotherapist, this, that, and the other," but it is you that has done all the work.
Yeah,
Yes, definitely.
One with self-belief, and then when you're in there, you've allowed your unconscious mind, you've given it the opportunity, because it has been waiting for the opportunity to let go and clear out the clutter. And you finally said, and at the beginning you said, there was that moment where you said, "Mum, I've got to deal with this." That is possibly one of the most important moments in any form of healing. That moment where you have that breakthrough, that critical mass, and you say, enough is enough. It's time, and it's now.
Yes.
Yeah. So congratulations to you, Noah, for the work that you have done to heal yourself. Mum, thank you for helping Noah. Dad, wherever he may be, top man.
Where even is he, on a run or something?
And of course, Grandma, because
Yeah.
do send her my love. So thank you once again for doing this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is possibly one of my, it's naughty of me to say, but this is, I think, possibly one of my most favorite interviews thus far, because of the way it is, mum and son both giving an input, a full family input. That's not to belittle any other interview that I've ever done, however, because every other interview is the most important interview ever. So ladies and gents, thank you for watching this video. Thank you again, Noah and Antonella. Find me. You can find me on Facebook. My website is www.markcarterhypnotherapy.com. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Google. I'm on YouTube. If there's a social media, I'm there somewhere. Okay. Noah, do you want to plug yourself at all?
Make sure you follow me on TikTok. It is at Noah Cudgington. And Instagram. Everything is at Noah Cudgington. Genuinely, just type out Noah Cudgington.
All right, cool. All right, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you, this is Mark Carter Hypnotherapy, wishing you the very best mental, emotional, and physical health.